Welcome to Playful Podcast, your guide into the underground scene where we discover topics on kink and electronic music every week. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on our next episode. We are here today with Antonin Janson, better known as Antigone. Antigone is at the forefront of the French techno scene and is also seen as a leader and mentor for a new generation of producers and DJs. In this episode, we speak about his journey up until today. We compare Paris and Berlin, talk about the scene and the new generation, and much more. I am Amanda, and this is Playful Podcast.
Something happened when I was 20. I had a big depression. And this big depression made myself stuck into my room for almost 6 months. And it really helped me in a way because the only escape for me was music. So I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling so bad. I mean, I was going back and forth to the hospital and everything. And I was like, you know what? The only escape is the music. Your dream is really to be a producer and a DJ. What I've learned in 6 months was probably 2 years of work.
We are so excited to have you here.
I'm super happy to be here, and thanks a lot to invite me.
Thank you. And I just found out that you haven't lived in Paris the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically how it worked is that I was born in 1990. My dad was a photographer and he was doing like back and forth in New York. And so in 1994, we actually moved in New York for 4 years. Yeah. It was not the best time of my life, but I mean, I enjoyed New York like really later after, like when I was 20. But
why wasn't it so good?
Because imagine I was coming from a small village in a small island in the middle of the mountains and just woke up one day and arriving in the middle of Manhattan, don't knowing the language, didn't really understand what we were doing here. I didn't even understand we were going to live here for 4 years.
Oh.
And so I think this had like a huge impact in my life because I didn't have that much friends and kind of was really in my own little world, and I was really like drawing all the time, like I was doing like a collection of toys, a lot of collection of toys. Like I was building like small castles. I was quite artistic, and I think this is how everything started. Pretty much, yeah.
Did you move there because your dad was a photographer?
Exactly, yeah.
So he was very good at what he did.
Yeah, he was interior photograph, and he was like doing back and forth in the whole state. He was working with like famous interiors magazine. We didn't see him that much at that time. He was just going back everywhere. Yeah, so we had like me and my brother, we had like a very strange, very strange 4 years in New York. I mean, my brother really more enjoyed it than me, that's for sure.
Was he older?
Yeah, 3 years older, so he kind of learned the language pretty easier than me. Without the accent, he still has like this Franglish accent.
Ah, that's cute.
Yeah.
But
he who was way better than me, but yeah, anyway.
Anyway, so you think that affected how you were, but who were you then because then you came back to Paris?
Then I came back to Paris, and this is how everything actually changed in my life. So in 1998, first, like I discovered soccer, like I think most of the kids in 1998 in France, with the France winning the World Cup and all that stuff. And also in 1998, my godmother was a DJ, and she was a DJ resident in a very famous club called the Palace. And also in 1998, there was something very special. There was the first techno parade in Paris.
Oh.
And that's the first time I actually heard techno music. And we were like on those big trucks listening to this music. And this was like a revolution for me. It was like I never heard this kind of music before, because like when we were living in New York, we were more like into Nirvana, more rocky stuff, and like what else? A little bit of rap music, but I never heard electronic music. And I remember this was like, wow. And So basically what happened is that my godmother started to give us every week, every 2 weeks, like a few records, because she was also working in a record store in Paris. And so we started to have this small collection, and she was really trying to educate us with electronic music. So she gave us like techno, but also electro, but also really weird stuff. I can't even say if it's psytrance or just very fucking crazy stuff. But it was, so we really had like a deep dive into the electronic scene like this. And so when I was about 11 years old, that was pretty much the age where I could go by myself to a record store. And this is how I really wanted to be a DJ, actually. This is how everything started for me.
But did your friends also listen to electronic music?
Not at all.
No?
I just had one friend that was called Arthur Uson. Maybe if he hears me, I didn't see him since years. But so this friend was living quite far away from my place, and he was like living 1 hour by metro. And we started this thing together. Basically, he was kind of a nerdy guy already. He was like 2 years more than me. And he was a hacker and also a DJ, and he was starting to do drum and bass, producing drum and bass. So he's the one who really put me inside the production part. And I remember going back and forth to his place every weekend just to play records, or just to check how Reason was working, you know, or even the first time he had like Ableton. I was like, wow, what is this thing? And he really initiated me into the production part. Yeah.
So you had it from like two sides, or like you were pushed forward from two angles. I mean, the electronic music was pushed towards you from two angles, like your godmother and also your friend.
Yeah.
So you had it, even though it was
but it was a small, I mean, it's still a small, you know, a lot of people started electronic music like where they were hanging with a huge band and everyone was listening to electronic music. But all my best friend didn't even care about electronic music until we were like 20, you know. Yeah, like one of my best friend works at Universal now, and he's like listening to electronic music, trying to put out electronic music. And when we were like 16, he didn't really care about it. So it's funny how this music also changed during the years, you know.
Did you also play an instrument or something like this?
Never. No. That's my huge regret. I mean, I did a little bit piano for 1 year. When I was like 9 years old or something like that, but I was too young for this. It's like I didn't have, you know, I was not focused enough to do it. And I think if I had it like around 11, maybe I would have continued to play piano. Yeah.
But did you ever, you know, when you're a teenager or whatever, and you have this, you always, or like people always ask you, so what are you going to become? What are you going to work with? And this, did you always feel...
I always knew I wanted to do this. I mean,
you always knew
I
it?
always knew. I mean, this job was a childhood dream for me. From the moment I discovered this music, I was like, I want to be a G. To be honest, I really started when one of my best friends at that back in the days came back from Ibiza. His dad was the producer of a film called Jet Set. That was like a comic film, comedy film about jet set in Ibiza. So all the clubbing scene and everything. And he went to Ibiza, did all this clubbing with his dad because they were shooting over there. And he came back with a bunch of like CDs. And one of them, he gave it to me, was a CD from Decidief. And I think it was like Circo Loco, and I think it was mixed by Tanya Vulcano. And this is the moment where I really realized that it could be a job. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do everything to be a DJ. And
how old were you?
I was like 14 already.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. But since then, you just had your mind focused.
Yeah. I was pretty bad at school. I was just like never going to school, just going to record shop, buying records, or just staying listening to music. At some point, even the record shop guy like said, "Hey, you gotta go to school now. Like you're gonna be late." I was like, "Fuck it." But even when I was skipping school, I was like on my computer making music or going to actually. At one point, the friend with who I started. My school was just next to his place, and I was going to his place to do music.
Looked like you were going to school.
Yeah. But no.
Okay, but since then, like, I guess that also sounds like it was a straight ahead journey for you.
Yeah.
But did you ever come across some tough moments where you felt like you wanted to quit or just do something else or take a break?
I got pretty lucky on the road, I must say, because lucky. It's a big word, but something happened when I was 20. I had a big depression, and this big depression made myself stuck into my room for almost 6 months, and it really helped me in a way because the only escape for me was music. So I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling so bad. I mean, I was going back and forth to the hospital and everything. And I was like, you know what, the only escape is the music. Your dream is really to be a producer and a DJ. What I've learned in 6 months was probably 2 years of work. So this is how, and when I came out from this 6 months of depression, I was really lucky because one friend of mine, Suleiman, that had a website called Phonograph that was about electronic music, introduced me to Brice from Concrete. And at that time, I just released my first release on Construct Reform on Zadig's label. And this was like, I put out my record. And maybe 3 weeks after, like, Suleiman presents me to Brice of Concrete, that Concrete was starting as well. And he was like, hey, let's meet up. And 2 weeks after, not even 2 weeks after, like 3 days after, he was like, what are you doing on Sunday? I'm like, I don't do anything. It's like, okay, you want to try to play at Concrete? And this is how, like, the career starts. The beginning of my career started like this, yeah.
Wow. That sounds like it was just meant to be.
Yeah,
you know?
Probably. Yeah. Or maybe just like a little gift, after like 6 months of depression, it's just a little gift.
Here
you go. You'll feel even better with this.
Yeah, but also after that, you feel like you have not even been doubting it. You've been just like moving on and always getting, I think that sounds... Have you always been feeling inspired then? Because this is also something within all jobs, you can sometimes have dips.
There was dips. I mean, I had those, let's say those 8 years of residency and touring a lot was just like, everything. I didn't see my friends anymore. I was just so focused and so happy to do my job. I mean, it was, like I said, like a childhood dream. So I was so into it. Kind of forgot about everyone and family, and eventually what happened is that I got tired and also uninspired at one point. And this, I guess, happens to everyone, and it takes a little bit of time to get back to it. I guess you have to lay low a little bit and just stop doing music, take less gigs, and just focus on yourself, on where you want to go, on what kind of sound you want to propose. And
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't come like this. I made some terrible a mistake putting out music that I didn't want to put out. After putting it out 3 months after, I was like, which direction am I going? And it's a bit like, it is like a bit falling down at one point, but eventually you always find yourself.
I love to hear that also, because you are, for so many who's watching this, you are on the top, like what they're aiming for. And to feel that you have also been like, putting out stuff and not really knowing what sound you want to create. But how did you then find your sound?
Well, at the beginning, like I said, everything was smooth. For 8 years, when I started to put out stuff from Antigone, I knew what kind of sound I wanted to make, and let's say there was an attraction around all this techno sound because it was a new techno sound from Berghain, all those producers like Oscar Mulero, Neil, Voices from the Lake. It was more like a minimalistic techno at that point. And so it was kind of an era of minimal techno, I call it. But it's not really minimal techno. People are going to kill me if I say that. But for me, it sounded a bit more minimalistic and a lot of textures. So, and we were a whole bunch of producers doing all this kind of music. So it was easy. And then eventually let's say this kind of style, I got a little bit, I think we did we saw everything we could do with it. And this is after 8 years, like this is the moment where I felt like I wanted to change a bit my sound. And also the moment where I started to lose a bit myself, because when you want to change, you're searching for something, but you don't really know where you're going to. So I did a few tests and I'm like I said, did a little bit of mistake doing stuff that was maybe too far away from techno at one point.
Experimental or
not even a bit experimental. I don't know. I had this idea where I wanted to try to do something more poppy with techno, but still keeping this intensity of techno. But in the end, the mix was not that good. It happens. But at least I tried, and I think that's the most important thing as an artist, is to try stuff. Otherwise, you'll be like, I never tried it, and you'll be like, what did I didn't try? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. You'll never know, but you have to try it.
Yeah, but since you got back to Paris when you were 8, no, have you always lived in Paris then? Yeah. Do you feel like you are very French in your personality?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
What's the most French thing about you?
Just smoking a lot and and drinking a lot. Not drinking.
Red wine.
Yeah, red wine. Yeah. Going to a restaurant, and that's very French. Like every Thursday night, you want to go out. That's very French.
But you have also at one point thought about moving to Berlin.
Well, this was like when I started with Concrete, so in 2011, something like that. I was just starting, and I remember saying to Brice, so I was just becoming a resident at Concrete, and I was telling Brice, I think I want to move to Berlin, I think it's better for my for my artistic and producing part, and he was like, you really want to move to Berlin? You've got everything in Paris. I mean, you've got your residency, you've got all your other friends, DJ, producer that are here. Why you want to move in a city where you don't know anyone, where you don't have any residency? And I was like, yeah, he's right. Like, I'm just gonna stay where I am. And,
okay. So it wasn't because you like the vibe in Berlin or something?
No, I really like the vibe in Berlin. Yeah, no, I still enjoy the vibe in Berlin. But I had everything I needed. I think it was just a dream, but it was not very how can I say, I don't know how to say it in English.
In French, how is it?
C'était pas très réfléchi.
It was, you didn't reflect so much.
Yeah. And I had, like I said, I had everything. I had my home studio. I had my family, and I think it's important to, if you're as sensible as me, it's important to have friends and family around. Like, it helps you also to make music.
Yeah, I think this is definitely interesting, because you can always feel like, oh, I'm going to be inspired if I put myself in a spot where I'm like challenged. But at the same time, that can also, if it's too much of changes, maybe you lose.
Yeah. And also, like, I'm still like sending, after like almost 11 years, I'm still sending packs of music that I do like every week to my parents, like,
oh, really?
Hey, can you listen to this? I need feedback from my family all the time. I'm very insecure with music, and
Really?
and also the fact that I stayed to my parents' place till I was like 24. Like my home studio was in their place, and I was like my dad's office was just next to my room. So like sometime he entered, he was like, "Yeah, this loop is shit. Just stop it. Just do something else."
Honest.
Yeah, super honest. So yeah, that's
Okay.
also why it's good to
Yeah.
stay.
But is there anything you do, like you come to the city from time to time, Berlin, I mean? Is there anything you always do when you get here?
I try always to go buy some records.
Where do you go
So
then?
Space Soul, Record Loft. I don't know if it still exists. This one,
Which one?
Record Loft. Doesn't
I am
exist.
not sure, but
This one doesn't exist
yeah.
anymore. But yeah, Space Soul a lot. Yeah.
All right. Do you feel it's different?
Oh yeah. We don't have in Paris. We don't have that much secondhand record shop, and also Space Soul is quite focused on techno and I mean in Paris we have a few secondhand shop, but more for disco and house and less on techno. Yeah.
All right. Have you been here a lot, you'd say?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you would compare Berlin and Paris, how would you say the cities differ?
Ooh, it's tough. You mean in terms of nightlife or in general?
Yeah, actually, I'm more so interested in also the scene, but I was gonna go there after.
Okay.
First, I wanted to hear about the energies.
The energy. Well, the
energies.
energy is. I don't go that much out. I don't go out that much in Paris, but it's very young compared to Berlin. It's very young. It's a crazy energy, but sometimes it's just too young for me. But it's also a good thing. You know, it means that this new generation is also into this music, and I remember when I started to go out, I was like 16, and even when I was like 18, we were not that much from the same age going to clubs. You know, it was still something for people that were around 27 and 30. You know, it was still the old guys going to the clubs. So that's kind of a revolution right now in Paris, and it's cool because it means that there's a new scene of producer. My God, of producer coming, and also new promoters, and crazy kids doing like insane warehouse parties. That's also the thing with Paris, is that they love warehouse.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that I think the clubs in Paris is too strict in terms of the drugs. I mean, if you get caught with drugs, you get kicked out in a way that is just awful. I mean, I've seen kid like having broken nose by security. So this doesn't you don't really feel safe already in a club. So
in Sweden, if you're caught with drugs, they will take you to trial.
Okay. Yeah.
You can't go to the US after.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's
even worse. But But yeah, this and I think this liberty of warehouse is great. It's like you just can really escape in the sound, and that's it. And so yeah, the difference with Berlin is also that I think people are more educated with this music. It's been there since years. This like that was famous in a famous club like Tresor Bergen, and it's changed a lot.
Yeah. And would you say the sounds differ?
The sounds, oh yeah. I think the French people always had this more. We're a bit more poppy in a way. So poppy in the sense where we like to mix every kind of genre, and this is really what happened in France with this new heart scene, with Possession, and this brought back this intense music. But if you listen closely to this music, it's full of ideas, and like you have a mix between dubstep and EDM, and like it or not, the energy is great, It's and I think Berlin has always been more classical in a way. Like there's, of course, there's the hard scene as well, but it's just I think we're a bit more I don't know how to say. I always saw Berlin a bit more a bit more classical, more.
A bit more strict
A
with.
bit more strict.
Yeah.
That's also a good thing.
But like over the years, would you say the scene has changed a lot?
Yeah.
Because you've been in it for so long also. So
Yeah,
you must
yeah,
have
yeah.
seen.
So before Concrete already, there was not that much going on. Concrete brought something new to the table, and also a new generation, a new generation of promoters, and this changed radically the scene in Paris. After Concrete closed, a lot of young people started to do a lot of parties and huge parties, bringing massive, like 4,000-5,000 people in just one warehouse. And this was something, I mean, 10 years or 11 years ago, it was just impossible in Paris. People didn't really care about the electronic scene, you know?
Yeah.
That's is a huge change for Paris, yeah.
Are you like only happy for it, or are there anything you're scared about, or like?
The only thing that scares me a little bit is that warehouse and clubs are two different things. A warehouse, comes with a certain type of music, with a more energetic music, and I come from clubs, and the feeling of a club, the club feeling is totally different. It's a club has a story, it has a soul, and the music that you can propose in clubs is totally different. You can really go from techno to electro to all kind of music. It's also because there's less people, so you have a more intimate thing happening between you and the crowd. And on a warehouse party, a bit less. But it's totally two different things, like I said, yeah.
Yeah, but like the elements, or like, you know, the ethics, I would say, of techno, like no homophobia, no sexism, and these things. Are you scared the scene would lose them if it grows too quick or something like this? Or do you believe that it's gonna
stay?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's gonna stay. I mean, I personally feel that people are a bit more educated. This new generation is also more open-minded compared to the old generation, you know? We're getting to somewhere, you know. It will. I mean, of course, it will never be perfect, but it's getting really better, you know. Yeah, there's more and more safe place in Paris. Let's say. Yeah.
There are.
Yeah. There's more clubs where that are aware with all this problem and try to really communicate on it. But also in terms of drugs, like we made a huge change in Paris lately. Yeah.
You're selling in Paris.
yeah. It's a great city.
Okay, because this is gonna be out like just before New Year's.
Okay.
So if we wrap up the year a little bit, what have been your most highs this past year, or 2022?
This year, or those last my highlights? No, or just this year. This year, I think my highlight this year was probably this gig that I had like in Bogota, with the Doom guys. It was insane. It was crazy. It was like in a big concert hall, and I felt like a pop artist. Like every drop that I made was like so intense. I was so like at the end, I was almost like in shock with what happened. That was like probably my best gig ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are you looking most forward to next year?
To continue what I do, for sure. And really try to focus more on my label, and try to put out all this new artists that I have right now. And I really want to push more other artists and newcomers. Yeah.
How do you find the newcomers?
Well, you dig on SoundCloud, you also dig on Instagram. You know, you're just like, oh, someone posted from an artist that you don't know. You go on her page or his page, and you're like, hey, I don't know that. Hey, and you check also all kind of. I tried to check a lot on SoundCloud, all the the pages like Vault or Intercell, all those podcasts, because this is the only way to find out new artists.
What are you looking for mostly on your label?
More like, let's say, hard groove in terms of music. More in this kind of hard groove techno from 2000. I want to try to make I want to do like a revival of of Intech a little bit, from Carcox from back in the days. That label was a huge impact. It had a huge influence on me when I was a kid. So I really want to bring back this kind of sound, but with a small twist, of course.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Stop smoking like every year. Just like a nightmare. I do like a dry January where I can stop drinking, and that's easy for me now. I don't drink that much, and stop smoking, and stopping, like every time I try to stop smoke, it just lasts for 1 month. So it just comes back. Yeah.
And worse, the double. No.
Yeah. And now I'll buy like those XXL stuff.
But stop drinking is easy for you.
Yeah, I don't drink that much. No.
Do you have a rule that you don't drink when you play?
It's just,
or are you just
no, for me, drinking is not like it's just it's a taste, it's just,
right.
it's just like it's not to get fucked up.
Tastes good.
Yeah, it goes with a plate, and that's it.
Okay.
And I don't drink that like
very
every day.
French of you.
Yeah, just drink maybe like 1 time per week or something like that. Maybe 2 glasses per week
of red wine.
Yeah,
also very French.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have come to the extra material.
It was my pleasure.
If you're a patron, you'll get to listen to the extra material, where we speak about who Antigone is in the studio and how he works when producing, as well as his view on goal setting. Go to patreon.com/playfulmagazine.
It's either this or it's that. This is this or that.
Messy or tidy?
Oh, messy.
You are?
Yeah.
How does your studio look like?
Actually, Parallax made fun of me. Like, I usually always forget to do the dust.
to dust.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like all my sins are full of dust all the time. Yep.
So dusty, but
and also like on my way of producing, I'm super messy. Like I have zero organization, but in a way, in this chaos, I find myself.
Yeah, you have.
I'm getting better with years.
But also, sometimes maybe it's easier to find when you're so used to a mess.
Mm-hmm.
It can be easier for you to find
I'm
your
messy,
way.
but I'm not crazy messy at all. It's not like I have full of stuff. And it's like,
I know where
it is. No. It's okay messy. It's like I should be better at it, but it's yeah.
You're not a hoarder.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Oysters or burgers?
Oysters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very French.
It's very
again.
French.
All black or colors?
Colors.
Yeah. Look at you. Okay. Funny hats or funny socks?
Funny. Tough. Yeah. Funny hats. Yeah.
Yeah. I would also guess that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was checking my socks. Yeah, funny hats for sure.
Okay, what do you prefer, loud neighbors or nosy neighbors?
Noisy?
Nosy, like
checking.
Sneaking. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe loud ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Feels strange to have like people like, hey, what are you doing?
That's very German actually.
Really?
Yeah, they are crazy here. Like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Oh my god, it's horrible. How are they in Paris? Better?
Well, in Paris they don't care. Like everyone is like they don't want to know what's happening today.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah. I mean, we have I've been living in the same building for almost 16 years now, a bit more actually.
Wow.
Well, no, it's 20 years. 20 years. Sorry, 20 years. I've got finally just one neighbor that became my friend, and he just moved in like 6 months ago or something like that. But before that, I never had friends in my
No, this is same for me. But
Okay.
like, yeah, I think now it's the first time.
Sorry.
Oh, you're hungry? Okay, no, yeah, I think I think Germans don't either want to make friends with.
Okay, but it
the
just
neighbors.
they
It's
just want to know what's happening in
They're
the
just nosy a little bit.
Okay.
They want to like. I know during the pandemic when it was locked down, you could see people stand in the windows and check
checking the
if you were alone or if you invited friends, and then they were like calling.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are super weird.
Yeah, probably loud people. Yeah.
Yeah, loud people. Feel you. Netflix or YouTube?
The both.
Both?
Oh
Same,
yeah, the
same?
both. Same. Yeah.
Okay, vacation or staycation?
What's staycation again?
It's like if you're just renting a room in Paris and just enjoying your city.
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna go out. Okay, front row raver or behind the booth?
Behind the booth.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm not a big dancer. Yeah. Oh, and I like to. Yeah, I like to see how people play. Yeah, I'm very curious about it.
Oh, are you standing there with the
phone?
Yeah.
No.
No, you're just more so off the
Shazam
technical.
and
Exactly.
recording and then sending. Hey man, what's that?
All right. Passenger or driver?
Passenger. Don't have
Yeah?
any license.
No
so
license. Very
no.
big city man of you.
Yep. I should have it, but yeah.
Shoulda, woulda, shoulda. Okay, beer or wine?
Wine. French.
Yes.
French. Come on.
It's a wrap.
It's
Thank
a wrap.
you
Cool.
so
Thanks a
much.
lot.
This was it for Playful Podcast this week, but please follow, subscribe, and listen to our next episode. And if you want to have a say about future artists or even ask your own question to one of our guests, follow us on Instagram and make sure to add your question when we lift our coming guests. Thank you so much for joining and see you next week.